The Jimmy Kimmel Live studio lights up, the audience erupting in applause as Jimmy Kimmel strides out, his familiar smirk in place. Welcome to tonight's show. We've got a special guest, Karoline Leavitt, White House press secretary. Clapping fills the air, mixed with a few curious whistles as Leavitt steps out dressed in a fitted navy dress, her gaze sharp but her smile polite. She takes her seat, clearly braced for a tense interview. Jimmy doesn't beat around the bush, diving right in, saying he was just on Truth Social and Trump was busy tweeting about him at 3 a.m. So tonight's going to be fun. The audience roars with laughter, a few shouting in delight, and he continues, urging the audience to comment where they're watching from and subscribe. Jimmy presses on, asking Karoline about Trump calling his new tariffs Liberation Day and jokes that Melania liberated herself from Trump last week. Laughter explodes again, echoing through the studio. Leavitt frowns but stays composed, firing back that Jimmy should stick to comedy instead of making up stories, calling it fake news. Jimmy feigns surprise, asking if she or Trump sent burgers instead of roses to Melania. Laughter and applause swell as Jimmy keeps the energy high, leaning toward Karoline with a mischievous glint in his eyes, joking that he got a hot tip from the White House about Melania leaving right after the inauguration because Trump forgot their anniversary while planning tariffs. The crowd erupts again as Jimmy mimics Trump, offering a Big Mac instead of affection. Leavitt's frown deepens as she struggles to stay calm under the mockery, and Jimmy keeps going, saying someone told him Trump referred to Melania as the CEO of leaving him in a private meeting. He pretends to pull a memo from his pocket, revealing it's just a McDonald's receipt. Leavitt fires back that Jimmy's clowning is cheap and not the truth. She crosses her arms, glaring at him, but Jimmy shrugs and says maybe Trump thinks Melania was dumb for staying so long. The crowd explodes in applause again. Jimmy then jabs that maybe she's the burger delivery girl now, or maybe J.D. Vance is handling that job. Leavitt grips the chair, clearly angry, but maintains a composure, asserting that the president is working for America, not making up stories like Jimmy. Jimmy nods mockingly, mentioning Trump's accidental war plan leaked to a reporter instead of Melania, joking about Trump yelling at Melania at 3 a.m. on Truth Social. The crowd laughs hysterically as Jimmy mimics Trump praising Karoline instead of his wife. Leavitt exhales sharply, her eyes blazing. Jimmy calls for more applause as the tension rises. Leavitt stands suddenly, fists clenched, gaze locked on Jimmy, accusing him of making a living laughing at others while Trump works day and night to save America. She adds she gave birth 9 months ago and was back to work 4 days later, pouring her life into the president's mission. Her voice rising, she says Trump is fighting to bring back jobs while Jimmy mocks with burger jokes. A group claps, swept up in her passion. Jimmy wipes imaginary sweat, says he's not laughing at workers, just a burger. He jokes Trump could open a McDonald's in the White House. Laughter and a playful band riff follow, but Leavitt stays firm, saying Americans aren't stupid and know who's working for them. She turns serious, saying Trump's tariffs will protect jobs and manufacturing. Jimmy sarcastically agrees that he has no right to mock Melania, but Trump sure has a right to post at 3 a.m. yelling at everyone. Leavitt nearly shouts that Jimmy doesn't understand White House pressure because he's never done anything meaningful, and she accuses him of mocking a man who beat the odds to lead the country. The studio falls silent, waiting for Jimmy's response, and Leavitt takes a moment, calling Trump the strongest man she's met, proud to stand by him. Jimmy, unfazed, jabs that Trump melts every time Putin compliments him and probably gets burgers from him too. The audience laughs again. Jimmy asks why she's even defending Trump if it's so strong, earning more cheers. Leavitt says she won't let anyone smear a man who's done so much, and that Truth Social is how Trump talks straight to the people, something the media hates. She stands firm, defiant, while Jimmy mockingly surrenders, saying Trump must be tweeting to thank her right now. Laughter and whistles follow. Jimmy, still grinning, praises her loyalty but questions whether that means she's right. He then mocks the recent war plan leak, saying it's not master negotiation, but master of wrong texts. He jokes that Trump added a reporter to a secret chat, mimes dropping a bomb, and mocks Trump as a master of accidental leaks. More laughter, more claps. Jimmy wonders if Leavitt or J.D. Vance hit the wrong button. Leavitt's voice is icy as she accuses him of making up stories again. Jimmy presses on, joking that even Melania might have gotten a love note in that chat group, saying if they can't handle text, how can they handle America? Leavitt responds that Trump's handling the economy and bringing jobs back, accusing Jimmy and the media of twisting the truth. Jimmy shrugs again, mocking the idea that war plan leaks help jobs. He switches topics, saying Trump wants to host a Kennedy Center Honors and might turn it into a burger auction. Leavitt snaps that Jimmy's pathetic for clinging to those jokes, saying Trump is trying to honor American culture. Jimmy jabs back that even Hamilton pulled out, probably because there was no burger scene. He turns serious, asking if she can defend the chat group mess. Leavitt replies that she doesn't need to defend anything because the truth speaks for itself. Jimmy steps toward the desk, saying if it's just trash, why does Trump melt down every time the press digs in? The audience laughs again. Leavitt stands there, fists clenched, breathing heavy, then steps close to Jimmy and shouts, "Enough!" Her voice rings out, accusing Jimmy of digging up garbage and making up story for laughs. The room stills, then some clap. Jimmy raises an eyebrow but says nothing as Leavitt presses on, accusing him of judging people while making money tearing them apart. She defends Trump as someone uniting the country and bringing hope, while Jimmy just mocks. Her voice trembles with conviction as she declares she's seen Trump work nonstop, calling it dedication Jimmy will never understand. She says the terrorists protect American workers, the very thing Jimmy keeps mocking with his burger jokes. Those who stole our livelihoods, what have you ever done like that? Or do you just dig into personal lives for ratings? The audience splits sharply, one side clapping thunderously and yelling, "Well said, Karoline," while the other whistles in dissent, creating a chaotic atmosphere. Jimmy raises a hand, pretending to wipe sweat, saying, "Wow, Karoline, I'm touched. But if Trump's uniting the country, why isn't Melania here clapping for him?" The crowd cheers excitedly, the band chiming in with a playful riff that cuts the weight of Leavitt's comeback. He continues, "I mean, you're loyal, but loyal enough to defend even that chat group sending war plans by mistake." Leavitt doesn't waver, her voice slowing but heavy as she responds that the chat group story is a media hoax, just like how Jimmy twists the truth to take down the president and insists Americans aren't stupid. They see what Trump has done, a stronger economy, more jobs, and a country that doesn't bow to anyone. A wave of applause rises, stronger than before, as if she's pulling part of the crowd back to her side. She calls out Jimmy for mocking the Kennedy Center Honors, saying Trump wants to honor American culture for real, not the fake kind that Hollywood loves. Jimmy smirks, stepping closer to her and asking if honoring culture includes Hamilton ditching it because of Trump, joking that Trump probably hates the play because it doesn't have a burger scene. Leavitt yells back, her voice piercing and overpowering the laughter, saying Jimmy doesn't understand the pressure of the White House because he's never done anything but sit and mock. She insists Trump is the strongest man she's ever met, standing tall against everything from media attacks to foreign enemies, and says the workers and parents know who's fighting for them. A bigger wave of applause erupts, clearly striking a chord. Jimmy nods, feigning agreement, and says he may not understand pressure, but he sees Trump melting every time he posts on Truth Social at 3 a.m. He turns to Leavitt and asks if Trump is so strong, why she's here defending him from a funny guy like Jimmy. Can't Trump defend himself? Laughter explodes again, but Leavitt stands firm, eyes ablaze. Jimmy raises a hand to quiet the crowd and says they need a break to see what the outside world thinks, picking up an iPad to check real-time reactions on X. Some claps ring out as Jimmy swipes and pretends surprised at a post saying, "Karoline just torched Kimmel. She's the queen of defending Trump," but he smirks at a reply, "Nah, she's just embarrassing Trump. Burgers don't save America." The crowd claps, some shouting, "That's right, Jimmy," while Leavitt stands there, eyes still fiery. Jimmy continues with another post comparing the debate to a show better than anything on Netflix, prompting laughter and applause. Leavitt won't stay quiet, stepping closer and saying Gen Z knows the truth and isn't fooled by outdated media like Jimmy's. Scattered claps rise, but Jimmy fires back, saying her generation memes Trump faster than she can blink, joking someone probably photoshopping Trump with a burger right now. He finds one Trump hugging Putin with a caption, "Thanks, man. Now I'm melting," and the crowd laughs so hard the seats shake. Leavitt clenches her fists, saying real Americans know who's fighting for them, and it's President Trump. Jimmy mocks agrees, then jokes about the chat group again, reading tweets aloud and drawing more laughter. Leavitt takes a deep breath, eyes flashing, and says the president is working for the people, not clowning around like Jimmy. Some clap in support. Jimmy jabs again, asking why Trump isn't teaching his team how to use a chat group right. He reads another tweet mocking Melania's absence and suggests she chose burgers over Trump. Leavitt, arms crossed, calls him pathetic for clinging to personal stuff, saying the president doesn't have to prove anything to Jimmy or those dumb tweets. Jimmy nods, saying maybe Trump's tweeting right now to yell at them both. The studio buzzes with energy, laughter, and applause. Jimmy sets the iPad down and says they just witnessed a night to remember, joking that Karoline gave it her all. Looking at her, he says she's so loyal to Trump that maybe he should hire her as a wife instead of press secretary, drawing loud laughter and applause. But Leavitt doesn't flinch, stepping closer with eyes resolute, calling Jimmy out for relying on cheap humor and pointless insults, asserting the audience is smarter than he thinks, and declaring pride in defending a president who works for America. Applause explodes stronger than before. Jimmy shrugs, pretending to be shocked, asking what that makes Trump if he leaves her to face him alone. He turns to the crowd, questioning why Trump isn't defending himself on air, maybe he's busy tweeting at 3 a.m. about burgers. Leavitt cuts in coldly, saying Jimmy isn't worth the president's time because Trump is busy leading the country while Jimmy digs up trash. She insists Americans know the truth and care about results, not media hoaxes like the chat group. Thunderous applause follows, some people standing to cheer. Jimmy tries to regain control, saying Americans know to laugh at Trump melting over Putin compliments. Leavitt smiles for the first time, saying Trump doesn't melt, he leads, and questions whether Jimmy protects anyone besides that host chair. The crowd gasps and roars with applause. Jimmy, caught off guard, doesn't reply right away. Leavitt presses on, challenging his portrayal of Trump-hating narratives and saying the truth doesn't need Photoshop. Jimmy attempts a comeback, saying Karoline must be tired of cleaning up Trump's messes, but she interrupts, declaring she's not tired, she's proud, and won't let him continue this clown show. She turns to the audience and proclaims Trump will always win because he has people who believe in America. Applause booms again, even stronger than before. Jimmy raises a hand for silence, slightly strained, asking the audience to give her a round of applause, which rings out loud and long. He thanks her for coming, joking that next time he hopes Trump shows up himself, but maybe he won't take her on again. The laughter is weakened now as the band plays the outro. Jimmy signs off, and as the studio lights dim, Karoline Leavitt remains the center of attention. Just minutes later, Donald Trump posts on Truth Social in all caps, calling Karoline a star who crushed pathetic loser Jimmy Kimmel. He praises her defense, claiming she's a warrior and that they are stronger than ever. The post ends with big win, and next quickly spreads with a tweet showing Karoline pointing at Jimmy outside the studio. Leavitt pauses for reporters, her navy dress pristine, eyes gleaming, saying she's proud to defend the president and show the truth. She steps into her car, leaving an impression of an unyielding warrior as passers-by clap and shout her name. On X, reactions tilt in her favor, with one user saying she shut Jimmy up, and another saying Trump doesn't need to show up because Karoline's strong enough. Memes spread showing her as a queen of Trump defense, while Jimmy is pictured forcing a smile with a caption, "When you lose but still have to close the show." Though some still mock burgers, most praise Leavitt as a real warrior, leaving Jimmy outmatched. The story of Karoline Leavitt firing back after Jimmy Kimmel drops a bombshell about Trump's marriage highlights the deep polarization in today's America, where politics, media, and pop culture intertwine to spark fiery debates. Jimmy represents a segment that critiques figures like Trump through comedy, while Leavitt reflects the fierce loyalty of Trump's base. The social media storm and Trump's own posts show how quickly narratives shape opinion, with the U.S. divided one side laughing, the other hailing Trump as a savior. The real takeaway isn't just polarization, but how people navigate conflict. Conviction and clear argument can outshine mockery, though humor connects fast. Jimmy wins laughs by reading the room, while Leavitt gains respect through unwavering belief. In everyday debates, whether at dinner or online, stay calm, listen, and speak with purpose. Add some humor, dial back the tension, and you'll stand out more than by shouting. Try it next time. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next drama. Thanks for watching.